Western red cedar is a really important species, and we're really concerned because we're seeing dieback throughout its entire range. And it's urgent that we get more information to understand what's going on with Western red cedar, and we try and find solutions to keep Western red cedar for future generations. The two most common symptoms that we're seeing with the dieback of red cedar is thinning canopy and also top dieback. And sometimes you might just see the entire tree turn brown and die within a single season. When you're looking at the health of red cedar, if you happen to notice either the symptoms that we mentioned, whether it has thinning canopy or whether the top is dying back, other things to look for is whether there might be the presence of other factors such as insects or fungi. All of these kind of observations are really important for understanding what's going on. And so if you're looking at the bole of a tree, you might see little insect holes, and that could be an indicator of another factor that's contributing to the dieback of the Western red cedar. In addition, if you peel back the bark, you may be able to see evidence of a fungus. Understanding the other factors that may be contributing to the dieback of Western red cedar is really important, because it's important to know the issues that the tree is facing in order to make decisions about how to keep that tree healthy. Once we know where trees are vulnerable and which environmental parameters are important, we can start to screen other populations of Western red cedar against those parameters to identify populations that might be more tolerant or more resistant and can survive on the landscape for future generations. So often we're faced with a really complex situation where there's a healthy tree here and an unhealthy tree there. And we really need a lot of information to pull this all together and start picking out the patterns. And so one approach we might use to address this information need is a community science approach. At Washington State University, we're leading a project called the Forest Health Watch, which is a community science project where anyone can participate and help accelerate research and also learn with us to create a shared understanding of what's going on with the Western red cedar. So there's two ways to really help accelerate the research and understand what's going on. One is by contributing to iNaturalist, and the other is by collecting physical samples. And by doing either of these methods together, we can start to better understand what's going on with Western red cedar dieback. And so one way to contribute as a community scientist is by sharing observations on iNaturalist, which is an online platform, and there's a mobile application that you can use on your phone, and you can share observations of healthy and unhealthy Western red cedar trees. And this information will be useful for one, determining where Western red cedar trees are vulnerable, where we're seeing Western red cedar die, but also helping us identify which environmental parameters are the most important. Another way that you can contribute to advanced knowledge about what's going on with Western red cedar is by submitting soil samples. And so we're interested in collecting soil samples in healthy trees and unhealthy trees and comparing the fungal communities in those soil samples to see if there might be a group of fungi that's associated with healthy trees and then a group of fungi that might be associated with unhealthy trees. The Forest Health Watch program is an umbrella for many projects. The Western red cedar dieback is the pilot project of the Forest Health Watch program. But the goal is to host many community science projects related to forest health. So within the Forest Health Watch program, we've also created projects on iNaturalist where you can share observations of other species like bigleaf maple and other observations of species like Douglas fir or grand fir. But for now, our primary concern, as identified by our community, is Western red cedar dieback. And so we encourage you to if you find yourself near a western red cedar, share some observations of that and critically think and investigate what may be contributing to the health of that red cedar.